What will be your reaction when you see Avengers in your real life? Suppose you find Iron Man on the borders of the US. What would be your first action? Would you be scared or go to him for a selfie or shoot his video? Whatever it might be, tell me in the comments. But right now, I am also not creating any hypothetical scenario. Soon, there's a lot of possibility that you could see any army just like the Avengers, but the question is, how is it possible? So let me tell you, is it possible only because of the Iron Man of the real world? Have you got it? Not yet. The founder of the world's most successful private space agency, we're talking the one and only Elon Musk. So welcome to the channel, you all. We are back with another interesting video. Here today, we're going to see the world's first military force field by Elon Musk. Let's get into the video right away. Well, there are so many more questions that may be circulating in your mind about how this army works and where it'll be posted, so here are the answers in the next few minutes. No matter how you feel about Elon Musk, there's no denying he's one of America's most visionary business leaders. He turned the electric car into a product consumers actually wanted to buy, and, in the process, turned Tesla into one of the world's most valuable companies. Currently, there are 3 different force field technologies in various stages of development and deployment, but let's start with the one that most closely resembles the technology of science fiction. It was a challenge a decade ago to successfully combine power supply, accurate sensors, dedicated tracking, and the reliability to intercept an incoming attack. But as weapons get more sophisticated, researchers are trying to build defense systems that can keep pace. And what's better than a force field? Aerospace and defense giant Boeing has been awarded a patent to develop a force field-like system that could protect military vehicles from shock waves following explosions from missiles or improvised explosive devices. It describes how to create a force field capable of shielding soldiers and military vehicles, including tanks and armored personnel carriers, from the shock waves of IEDs. Boeing's proposed system involves using a combination of lasers, electricity, and microwaves to rapidly heat up the air between the vehicle and a blast. The heat creates a plasma shield that's denser than the surrounding air and able to deflect or absorb the energy from the incoming shockwave. Unlike the impenetrable force fields of science fiction movies, the system is not designed to prevent direct impacts or shrapnel. Instead, Boeing's system is designed to protect a target, which could be a vehicle carrying troops, or a building such as a command center or a hospital, from the after effects of nearby explosions. The system, which would likely be mounted on a military vehicle or some other target, would have sensors that can detect the velocity and shape of an incoming threat. The system would also be able to determine the size and force of the resulting explosion. Its sensors and computers would be able to calculate the time it would take the shock wave from an explosion to reach the target, and from what direction. This is important, as the generated force field would only protect a small region of the target, rather than enveloping the entire thing. In the realm of science fiction force fields, we will keep it simple and use Star Trek ships' defense shielding as an example. The shields of the Enterprise envelop the vessel in a bubble of impenetrable projected force. So, when the shields are up, neither energy nor matter can pass through them. This is the reason why when the crew need to use the transporters, they have to lower the shields. The force fields that Boeing is proposing would only activate when an incoming attack would be detected. Unlike deflector shields, this force field is not a solid shield, so any direct attacks against the vehicle would be unable to be stopped by this device. Boeing is proposing developing shielding that could defend against near misses that result in shockwaves or explosive force close to the vehicle. This goes to show how much of a self-willed man Elon is. Since the war began, he has been very vocal about the dastardly act Russian forces are perpetrating in Ukraine. This explains why Elon Musk delivered a shipment of his internet-enabled Starlink to Ukraine. This shipment came less than 48 hours after he announced that his company would be sending support to Ukraine. That's a force field created specifically for combat. Elon is fully in favor of this concept, and even launching his first hypersonic with this field installed in it. So now, after Common and Spaceman, military people also do not have to worry about vehicles anymore, because Elon Musk got you covered. The plasma, which is much hotter than the surrounding air, also has a different density and composition. Boeing believes this plasma field is enough to divert, reflect, or absorb the energy passing through. In its application, Boeing outlines several different embodiments of the systems, with different methods for detecting threats and for rapidly creating the plasma field. One option uses converging lasers or microwave beams to generate a spherical region of plasma. Alternatively, the force field could be generated by firing lasers that induce plasma channels in the air, which provide a path for an electric discharge to create the plasma shield. These same pathways could be created by launching metal pellets that leave conductive trails as they fly. There is a sensor, an arc generator, a laser, and microwaves, the four major components of the technology. A nearby explosion, such as an improvised explosive device, IED, or a missile, will be detected by the sensor. It then uses a combination of arc electricity, lasers, and microwaves to rapidly heat a wall of air between the vehicle and the explosion. It heats the air to the point where it forms a dense plasma bubble, which reflects the vast majority of the shockwave, shielding the occupants from the damaging waves. Moreover, Elon Musk is interested in the U.S. military seeking force fields capable of stopping nuclear missiles. Elon Musk found the opportunity and said, "We are launching the first force field hypersonic jet. I would be glad to offer my services to the military." Everything from nuclear missiles to small drones could be stopped by this defensive force field. The Air Force believes that such a force field is possible in the future, but not until 2060 at the earliest. America's military-industrial complex keeps coming up with innovative ideas for how to win asymmetric wars in far-flung locations around the world. As if insect-like drones and Terminator bots were not enough, although some have referred to this innovation as a Star Wars or Star Trek-like shield for repelling enemy attacks, that's not exactly the purpose of the patent. As Boeing points out in patent number 8981261, such a system would act to accentuate any shockwave by a combination of means that might include reflection, refraction, dispersion, absorption, and momentum transfer. The goal then is not to knock down an incoming projectile or missile, but to deploy an intermediate medium that would reduce the collateral damage from such an attack. Unlike previous attempts at creating a similar type of shield, this Boeing patent, if it ever gets commercialized, would be a dramatic system, rather than a stationary system relying on sensors to activate a shield in real time. This differentiates it from previous patents, which focused more on how a specific substance, such as an aqueous foam, gas emulsion, or gel, could somehow absorb the blow of an incoming object when placed inside of a barrier. In other words, the force field would be highly mobile and be capable of activating at a moment's notice, rather than being erected in front of a structure hours, days, or months ahead of time. There's a huge potential market for this type of technology, and that means it's not just the U.S. military that could become buyers of such a battlefield innovation. The British Army is also working on the creation of supercharged electromagnetic fields to deflect anything up to the size of a small missile, and the Israeli Army is also working on a system to knock down incoming projectiles. However, Musk also has decided to make it work, and it's a pretty cool idea. We'll be waiting for the first prototype, which may or may not be able to defend against shockwaves from this crazy new weapon. Alright everyone, this brings us to the end of our video. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay updated.